Mr. Alan Bud Selig. Where did Bud come from?
Well, actually, it's an easy story. My mother brought me home from the hospital a long time ago, 80 years ago. And she said to my brother, I have one older brother, well, you now have a buddy. And I became Bud or Buddy.
No kidding.
And that was it.
You know, I read a story.
So it's no more complicated than that.
I read a story, Mr. Selig, about your mother. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember the article, her name was Marie. Is
That's
that right?
right.
Okay.
Boy,
And
right.
she was an immigrant, I think from the Ukraine.
That's right.
Became a school teacher.
Okay.
Now, if I remember correctly, she was the one that actually got you interested in baseball.
No doubt about it. No doubt. My father was a fan only because my mother was a huge fan. From the time I was 2 or 3, my mother was always listening to ball games, started taking me to ball games, the old Milwaukee Brewers, a AAA franchise, the American Association. And later on, 14 and 15, I'd go to New York, and my mother would take me to New York, and she's the one that made me a fan.
And then you become the commissioner of baseball.
Well, that's right. I don't think she envisioned that at the time, I'll tell you that.
Now, when you were the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers,
right,
did you ever envision having the title of commissioner? But see,
no, Jeff. I mean, it honestly never crossed my mind. In fact, when I became the acting commissioner in '92 and was really the commissioner, we were in St. Louis when it happened. Flew home because Robin Yount was going for his 3,000th hit, and I wasn't going to miss that after all those years. And 3 people came with me: Dr. Bobby Brown, Tommy Werner, who owned San Diego, and George W. Bush, who didn't want to go to the party, and so they came and we saw Yount. And I got off the plane, and my wife said to me, I hadn't called her because I really didn't know what to tell her, to be perfectly honest with you. What does this mean, buddy? I said, nothing. It's 2 to 4 months. Don't worry about it. I'll be done.
Yeah.
And here we are 23 years later.
Wow,
so that's as much as I can tell you.
Well, I'll tell you this, from a player's perspective, you have made this game so much better than what it was when I first broke in. And I mean that from my heart.
I know. I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, the thing I miss the most, people always ask me, what did you miss? Because after all those years running the Brewers, and that's what I miss. I had a very close relationship with my players.
I know you did.
I'm very, very close. And with the manager and general manager and all our front office people. I hold the whole Reds front office today. That's the one thing I missed. And one thing about it, though, you learn about the business and you really understand. And it's the one thing that was a little different, me becoming commissioner from the other people I had, because in the end, I consider myself a baseball man. That's what I am. And,
would you ever think about buying a team again, Mr. Selig?
No. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Tom. I'm going to teach at 2 or 3 universities. I'm going to write a book, and just I'm looking forward to that. I really do. No, that day is coming past. I loved it. Listen, I used to live and die with my team every day, every inning, every ball and strike. In fact, Robin Yount was kidding me the other day. He'd watch me pay. You remember the loads we had in County Stadium? We both do.
Sure.
And in the 8th and 9th inning, I'd be pacing, and he says the faster the pacing got, the more nervous everybody got. Thinking, oh, he is really all worked up today.
What a guy he is, Robin Yount. We just saw him recently. We were out in Arizona, 2-2 on La Stella, and there's a bouncer handled by the shortstop, Kozar. Today was a very special day. Commissioner, when you came in, you had so many things that had to get cleaned up first. We knew about the labor strife. We knew about all the things that were going on, and you attacked that and expansion, another round of that, and I could go on in the wild card, and not afraid. I was saying before you came up here, you never stop thinking out of the box, and that's what this game needed, and you brought so much of that. Another big part of what you wanted to do was get back involved in baseball for kids in the inner city. And today must have been a magical day.
You know, it was interesting. When I got there, I didn't really know quite what to expect. I knew what they were doing, but I hadn't seen the facility. I got there today, was stunned. It is so beautiful. And so what the Reds and everybody have done there, I told Bob Castellanos, they ought to be so proud of themselves, really proud of themselves. You looked at all these kids there who are going to get a chance that they never would have gotten.
Yeah, that's right.
And think about that. They get a chance to play.
Well, the ball fell in, a little miscommunication there, and a runner standing at second base with 2 outs in the inning. Go ahead, please.
Joe Morgan
continue,
was
Mr.
saying
Commissioner.
last
We've
night,
seen all
above and beyond what he thought it was going to be. And I guess he saw the original plans, and the Reds just took it to a whole different level.
No question. I mean, they really did. It's a beautiful facility, 3 fields, softball field, indoor facility. Kids can play all winter long.
My son just went to camp there last week.
Is that
it's
right?
a great place.
Oh, I'm so proud of him. You know, I keep saying that baseball is a social institution with important social responsibilities. And if today didn't prove it, nothing ever will.
It is.
Everybody in Cincinnati ought to be so proud of that. Great story.
Kids watch us play as well as adults, and we have a responsibility on that, that field to give back.
Well, you know, Commissioner, Joe Morgan said last night, though, he said, look, he said, you know, he said, I give the commissioner all the credit in the world, because when we first started talking about this idea, he said he was the first guy, meaning you, that said, I'm on board. And then when you hung up the phone, you know how it goes. Sometimes you hang up, somebody says, yeah, we're going to do this. And then, you know, you remind them about it 2 years later.
Right.
He didn't need to do that with you, he said last night.
No, because I believe that. I think we are a social institution. We do have important responsibility. And to reach out, just think what that's going to do for the kids in this area. It's just tremendous. So, well, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. And a day like this makes it easy to be the commissioner of baseball, because I'm really proud. I really am proud of it.
On the field, you feel your greatest accomplishment was a wild card?
The greatest accomplishment, Tom, I would say to you, is the economics of changing everything. That's why we have more competitive balance than ever before. You look today, Milwaukee's in first place, Kansas City's in first place, Oakland has been teams that 10, 15 years ago didn't have no chance. They had no chance, and everybody, we didn't say it, but you all knew it, and so the economic changes. But you know, when we went to the wild card, did it in Boston, September of '93, you would have thought, and I'm not joking, that I defiled motherhood. I mean, mad, people angry, he's ruining the game, you can't do this. And it's worked out great. The second wild card is working out even better.
Sure is. Sure is. You think you're going to miss it, the job?
I don't know. You know, Tom, that's a great question. I haven't thought a lot about it because we're so busy. In December and January, I think you know, I've been a baseball man all my life, all my adult life, and but I am going to teach and, as I say, and write a book, and so I'll be kept busy. I'll tell you what I'll miss. I told the front office this today. I'll miss the people. I love baseball people. I love just being around. I love spending a day like I did today with Joe Morgan and I sitting and talking. And it's I've been lucky. It's a great part of the career, and I love the people in it. And but it was, you know, there's a time to come in life and there's a time to go, and I just try to just my time, because I do want to teach and I do want to write a book, and I want to do it while I can.
Well, we're very proud of what you've done.
Well, thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. I want to get the Reds winning again, too.
Well, you're not alone.
I know that.
You know how it goes. It's hard to watch sometimes, Commissioner, when your team's not playing so well.
I know. You know, Tom, Jeff, I want to say this to you. There were weeks I learned early in my career that weeks that you'd think you'd never win another game, and then there were weeks you think you'd never lose another game. And you know, my friend Bart Giamatti used to say baseball is a metaphor for life. And you do have your ups and downs. So believe me, I've been through this. I know.
Can we get a commitment from you that you're going to come back at least for the All-Star game next year?
I'm sure that I will.
Okay.
Haven't given the game to Cincinnati. I'm sure I will.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us have the game. And
wonderful.
Commissioner, you've done an unbelievable job.
Pleasure to be with you, Tom.
Always a pleasure. Great to see you.
My pleasure, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner
Good
kind enough to stop in the broadcast booth. Has had a very, very busy day here today over at the launching of the MLB Urban Youth Academy here in Cincinnati over off Seymour Avenue.